everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Data Speaks interviews, part of a competition organised by RFG 2018 and Sequent. I'm now joined by Erin from the University of Alberta. Hi there, thanks for coming along.
Hey.
And so your original abstract title was, let me get it right, Observations of the Mary River Group at Long Lake, Northern Baffin Island, Nunavut. Stratigraphy and structure of the Archean supercrustal sequence. And you provided us with a revised abstract title, The Mary River Group, Northern Baffin Island, Nunavut, Unravelling the Geological History of 2.8 billion year old sedimentary, volcanic and iron formations. So, with this research, what question are you trying to answer?
Well, just on a really broad aspect of my master's thesis is I'm just trying to answer, what are the Mary River Group rocks? Mm-hmm. So what makes up what we consider the package of Mary River Group rocks, and then how are they formed and how are they deformed over the last, 2.7, 2.8 billion years?
Mm-hmm. And what are the basic concepts that hopefully somebody will be able to understand when going through your research?
Well, generally speaking, it's going to help if, you already have sort of a basic understanding of geology and of geological terms. But in a broader sense, if you know what a sedimentary rock is, if you know what a volcanic rock is, because iron formations are a little bit more complicated to understand. You might have to Google that. But essentially, that's what my rocks are, or were, when they were originally deposited 2.8 to 2.7 billion years ago. And so basically I'm looking at, okay, what are the order of these rocks when they were deposited? Because there's certain types that we see at my field area. And so I've been trying to figure out the actual stratigraphy of these rocks. So then, which rock was deposited on top of the other one. And so with that sort of creating, the geological setting during that time. So what did Earth look like during that time? What is now Northern Baffin Island? What did that look like, several billion years ago when these rocks were being deposited? And then just over time, to present day, how are they deformed? So how are they, buried and then eroded and then folded and thrusted on top of other rocks? Because there have been, several major events of deformation that we know of in this area. So essentially sort of encompassing all that is what my thesis will be.
Yeah, okay. And what role does data play in your research?
So data is really important because I collect a lot of it in the field. So just with my geological mapping, we've got an ArcGIS database. So whenever I'm, stopped in an area and I'm collecting rock samples, or I'm taking structural measurements, or I'm taking photos, that all goes into a database that then I can access later on through ArcGIS. And then also I'm doing some forms of analytical data, so some lab work. So I just got some geochemistry data back last week, actually. So I've got all that in an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to use some appropriate programs to graph and plot some of that data. So data is really important for being able to then, take smaller scale information and put it out to bigger picture into sort of a broader term that the general public can therefore understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why was it so important for you to be able to explain your research and to be able to explain the data that you have today?
Well, mostly because so the Mary River Group rocks actually host an iron ore deposit. It's about 60 kilometers south of my field area, and it's owned by Baffin Island, a company. So they have a Mary River mine, and so they're mining these rocks, and they have a bit of a unique situation right where their deposits are, but just on a broader scale of Mary River Group rocks in Northern Baffin Island, nobody really knows what they are and how they are defined and how they've been deposited, deformed over the years. So my thesis aims to provide a better understanding of Mary River Group rocks, so then the general public can just understand a little bit more about the story of what the Earth was like at that time, and then also for exploration, for mineral exploration purposes. If we have a better understanding of the Mary River Group, then there could be more potential there in the future for development.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Erin. Thank you to everyone else as well. These videos are available on YouTube, and this was the Data Speaks competition at the RFG 2018 conference in association with Sequent. As I said, these are available on YouTube, or you can find them at Twitter. See Data Speaks.